long ago, some 5,000 years before the Fellowship was formed to escort the ring bearer, Frodo Baggins of the Shire, to the land of Mordor, the Dark Lord Sauron sought the friendship of the elves. At this time, Sauron was still able to assume fair form, and in the guise he came to the elves of Eregion, the realm that lay close to the west gate of Moria. Seeking knowledge, the elves welcomed him, and together they fashioned the Rings of Power. But ever was the treachery in his heart, and Sauron longed only to subjugate all the peoples of Middle-earth. Returning to Mordor, he secretly made the One Ring, pouring his malice, his cruelty, and his will to dominate into it, so that it would be the ruler of all the other rings. But because the elven rings were artifacts of great magic, Sauron needed to pour much of his power into the One Ring, so that he could have the mastery of them all. During this time, and without Sauron's help, Celebrimbor alone made the three greatest rings: Bilya, the Ring of Air, and the greatest of the three; Nenya, the Ring of Water; and Narya, the Ring of Fire. And these were given to Gil-galad, High King of the Noldor, Galadriel, Queen of Lothlorien, and Círdan of the Grey Havens. However, as soon as Sauron put on the ring, his intentions were perceived by the elves. Furious at this discovery, Sauron launched a terrible war upon them. His army of orcs and other beasts swept over the misty mountains, killing as they moved west, covering all the lands in darkness. The elves were only saved from annihilation by the arrival of a huge fleet of Númenórean men. Such was their power in arms that Sauron's orcs were utterly defeated, leaving him with nothing but his personal bodyguard, who were driven back into Mordor. This humiliation earned them the eternal hatred of the Dark Lord, who would never rest until he had destroyed every last descendant of Númenor. After this, Gil-galad, Galadriel, and Círdan never openly displayed their rings again, although their power was ever at work, strengthening and enriching the realms of Lindon, Lorien, and the Grey Havens. During these dark years, Sauron recaptured all of the Rings of Power, save for those belonging to the three elves. 7 of these he gave to the Dwarf Lords, and 9 he gave to the Kings of Men. Upon each dwarf ring, a magnificent treasure hoard was founded, and each of the Kings of Men became powerful beyond measure. But the malevolent control that the One Ring exerted over these rings and their wearers could not be undone. Although the dwarves were resistant to Sauron's domination, their treasure hoards were cursed, and each was consumed in dragon fire. But where the dwarves were strong in spirit, the men were weak, and they could not escape the dominion of the Dark Lord. These proud rulers would become slaves, and their once golden lives would decay into an endless torment of shadow and suffering. For over 1,000 years, Middle-earth had peace. Although the malice of Sauron was ever at work, his greatest achievement in those years was allowing himself to be captured and taken to the island of Númenor, where he managed to corrupt the proud and fearless Númenóreans who lived there, and bring about the downfall and complete destruction of their realm. The survivors of this cataclysm settled in Middle-earth, building the great cities of Osgiliath, Minas Anor, and Minas Ithil in the kingdom of Gondor. Sauron himself was destroyed during the downfall, but his spirit returned to Mordor, although it was many years before he could take physical form again. Seeing how much men had already achieved during his absence, Sauron began to rebuild his own forces, and quickly launched an attack on Gondor, hoping to crush the fledgling kingdom before it could become a threat. Minas Ithil was captured, and would ever after be known as Minas Morgul, but Isildur managed to escape down the river Anduin, sailing north to Elendil's kingdom of Arnor to raise the alarm. Led by Isildur's brother, Anarion, the remaining Gondorians stemmed the tide of attack, holding the line at Osgiliath, but they were now all too aware that it would not be the last. Seeing that the danger from Sauron's army would continue to grow with every passing year, Elendil and Gil-galad joined in league, agreeing to launch a final do-or-die attack upon the Dark Lord. One last throw of the dice to end his tyranny. This union would be known as the last alliance of men and elves. Thank you for being a part of the first Histories of Middle-earth. If you enjoy these videos, please like, share, subscribe, ring that bell, and always remember to speak friend to enter.